Hi, my name is Gerhard Schwartner and welcome to Selling Power TV. Today we have the pleasure of meeting with Neil Rackham. He's the author of Spin Selling. Welcome, Neil.
Thank you, Gerhard.
Spin Selling, how successful has it been?
Well, it sold about 4 million copies worldwide.
Since
90, I think it was published first in 87.
Right.
I should tell you, it went to 9 publishers and they all turned it down before I found one. I originally wrote it for Prentice Hall, so nowadays, having been turned down, I send them all my figures.
Right.
It's been one of the best selling books of all time in business. And every quarter I send it saying, this could have been yours.
How many translations, how many languages?
It's somewhere in the 40s, around 45 languages or so.
Congratulations.
And no German.
Well, we got to correct that. I have some
Okay.
connections. I can help you with that.
Thank you.
Neil, let's talk about the common problem that businesses face when it comes to aligning sales with marketing.
Yeah, it's a very serious problem. Let's look at its history. In most organizations begin with sales. There's a sales force, an entrepreneur, he brings in someone to help him sell, they begin selling, and then suddenly someone says, we need a brochure, we need advertising. And marketing is born, but marketing usually starts as a sales support function.
Right.
As time goes on, it becomes ever more strategic and atmospheric. They become interested in branding, in segmentation strategy, in sensing the future, and so they become less measurable, but more strategic.
Right.
And they begin to talk a different language from the people down in the trenches who are doing sales.
And now let's talk about something very specific. Here's a marketing department that generates leads, throws them over the fence to the sales department, and salespeople either complain they have too many leads or not enough leads.
Yeah. Well, see, what usually happens is the complaint goes both ways. Sales says, They go to trade shows and they get cards from people who've never heard of us and don't want our products, and they call those leads. And marketing says, we generate all these leads and they don't follow them up and they go cold. Each blames the other. And if you look at one of the fundamental reasons for that is they don't have a common definition of lead.
All right, so let's start with that. What is the definition of a lead in any company?
Well, let me give you an actual example of a company that's done some thoughtful work on this.
Okay.
Oracle.
Okay.
Hans-Peter Unterberger, who's head of marketing in Europe in Oracle, actually set out a definition of a difference between a lead and an opportunity. A lead is a sort of possibility.
Right.
An opportunity meets these very specific criteria. And they redefined the role of marketing as the role of marketing is to help generate opportunities, not leads. So there has to be a budget, there has to be a time scale, there has to be a project objective. And that's where it starts to become an opportunity.
So does Hans-Peter define that alone as a marketing manager, or is this a collaborative effort between sales and marketing?
It started out of marketing, but it quickly became a collaborative effort because what Oracle was doing was working together to define the kinds of segments where there was potential, to create value propositions for the segment, and to identify specific target companies that they could go after. It was a collaborative effort. You see, what goes wrong is throwing things over the fence.
Right.
Marketing generates its work and throws it over. It does that with leads, it does that with value propositions, it does that with product launches. There's not a lot of collaboration. And the smart companies are working to integrate those things and create, for example, an integrated lead funnel where the front end is largely marketing, the back end is mostly sales, and there's a seamless handover.
So how is that done?
Well, it's done at an extreme where there are Six Sigma principles and go, no-go gates. So, for example, in GE, what happens, GE has split in its major business-to-business divisions, what they call the sort of front-end marketing. And these are the people who go to develop the value proposition, to identify the initial segments. They're in fact responsible for making the first sale. And then you have the downstream marketing group who work with the sales force to turn it into reality. That group work together to take every major business decision about pursuing an opportunity through 6 gates. The first one is this a segment we want to work in? Now, marketing largely determines that, but if the answer is no, we stop. Within the segment, we then say, have we got a good value proposition for this segment that will beat competitors? Sales and marketing both work on that one, and if the answer is no, we stop. Then you say, well, okay, we've got a value proposition in theory, but do we have enough specific customers in that segment to whom this value proposition applies? Sales and marketing have to work together. If the answer is no, we stop. Suppose it gets through that gate. The next one is, okay, we've got these customers who fit the value proposition. We know it's a good value proposition. Now let's make an approach to see whether they're at a point of readiness to take it. If the answer is no, they fall out. Then, if they're at a point of readiness, how can sales and marketing work together to customize an approach to that particular opportunity? Now, you see what's happened there is there's been a gradual handover from sales to marketing.
So that handover is done through meetings or electronically?
Some of each. But in the end, meetings are what cement the trust and the cooperation. So you couldn't just start up and do this electronically, but once the system's up and running, a great deal of the interchange is by email.
Right. So what is your approach? What do you advise CEOs to do when they become aware that they have silos that are not functioning well together?
I think the first useful thing you can do is say, is the reporting structure reinforcing this? So if you've got a VP of sales and a chief marketing officer and they just report into the chief executive, you're in trouble because the silos only come together at you. I would say you need a chief revenue officer. FedEx has one, Coca-Cola Enterprises has one, Campbell's Soup has one. The chief revenue officer who's responsible for taking all the resources of sales and marketing and using it to produce and generate profitable revenue.
So this is not just somebody who is like a referee between the two.
No.
That's a strategic position.
It's a strategic position using resources. Because, you see, sometimes things that we call sales today, the competencies that we need lie in marketing. For example, we've talked a lot, everyone's talking nowadays, about the difference between transactional selling, where the customer already knows what they want, and consultative selling, where the customer has a problem and they don't know how to handle it.
Right.
In transactional selling, where customers know what they want, they don't need salespeople. They will buy the cheapest option available to them. They'll treat you as a commodity. They won't spend time with you. Well, who should be running a sale like that? What are the competencies you need? You need a good brand. You need advertising. All these sorts of competencies lie in marketing.
Totally.
I would like to make marketing responsible for all transactional selling. Mm-hmm. I'd like to give them a quota.
Right.
I'd like to set them targets.
Exactly.
I would love to fire them if they don't perform. That would shake up marketing.
Right.
Good.